When we fight, when we fight, when we fight, when we fight. Good morning, good morning, good morning to all of you. Rick, thank you so much for that great welcome. I really do appreciate it, and I'm just so happy to be here with all of you today. I know this has been a great convention. I'm sorry that I could not attend, but had other things in Washington that I had to take care of. Also at the NAACP convention in Boston, where I was recognized there, and just doing what I do, right, as far as civil rights is concerned. So just so happy to be here with all of you this morning. I'm excited to be here. I'm standing up here. It's clear for anyone to see why the labor movement in my home state of Texas is stronger than ever. I am proud to be standing in front of such a diverse and vibrant group of leaders from so many different workplaces and parts of our state. The solidarity and unity you have built is just really reverberating across the room and across the state. Since our last convention, you have done an incredible job strengthening our movement by organizing the unorganized, fighting against attacks on workers, and standing up for the working class. Give yourselves a round of applause. Give yourselves a round of applause. Before I move on, I want to give a special shout out to all of the delegates from CWA. If you're in the audience, would you please stand? I want to thank my CWA delegates. Thank you so much. Now, I am truly humbled and honored by the trust and confidence members have placed in me to serve in my new role as the first Black president of CWA. I'm just really proud of that. And Rick, I was asked a lot, well, Claude, are you concerned about the way you look? And I said, yeah, I am concerned about the way I look. As a matter of fact, I got up this morning, I looked in the mirror and I said, damn, I used to look a lot better 30 years ago. I couldn't do anything about anything else, right? But when I looked at my 36 years of organizing, mobilizing, doing political work, it was clear that out of the three candidates that were running, that I was the best, in my opinion, to represent CWA. And I'm glad that the delegates thought so also. Yeah, I have to recognize Sylvia. Is Sylvia here? I think Sylvia. All right, Sylvia, stand up, Sylvia. I can't see you from up here, but thank you. Thank you so much. Sylvia, of course, is the chief of staff for CWA and is already doing an outstanding job. And then, as Rick mentioned, Vice President Osabase, I believe in the labor movement. We should do whatever we can to recreate ourselves into others that can do great work. And certainly, Derek is going to be a great leader here in District 6. I'm so proud of him. Derek, if you would stand up, please, and give him a round of applause. And, as historic as it is that I've become the first African-American president, I also did something else that's very historic. I was able to split a district in CWA that's never been split before. Every president from CWA has come from the East Coast, every one that we've had. I'm the first from the South. I was able to do that, and that district has over 100,000 members, Rick. I was able to do something that's never been done. I split that district right in half. And I was able to do that because of the public sector that's there. The public sector elected me in District 6, and the public sector worked their asses off to make sure we had that split in District 1. So I want Judy Lugo, please, Judy, if you're here to stand. I thought I saw you backstage a couple of minutes ago. I want to recognize her and other public sector leaders that are here. Thank you for your support. My journey began just 3 hours from here in Houston, Texas. I grew up in Liberty Gardens, where I went to Cashmere High School, and I attended the Tuskegee Institute before working for the telephone company. Of course, I followed my father's footsteps in CWA nearly 4 decades ago. I never dreamed that I would have the opportunity to serve as the first Black president of my union. I owe everything to CWA. That is why I am as committed as ever to building an even bigger, stronger, and bolder labor movement that can transform the lives of all working families. And if you were looking for a signal of how progressive and inclusive our movement is and how it's going to be, all you need to do is look at me. It would not be the truth to say that this journey was easy. It was not. But through it all, I was fortunate enough to be a part of a community and a support system that fought side by side for our shared values. Along the way, I've also built great friendships with fierce pro-worker advocates like your president, Rick Levy. Give him a round of applause. Rick and I have been friends and colleagues for many years. I have worked closely with him since my time serving on the board of the Texas AFL-CIO. He has been there for me and for CWA every step of the way. He is brilliant, but wait a minute. I got to tell a speechwriter, you might want to change that word. No, seriously. He is really brilliant, let me put it that way, and talented strategist with an unwavering commitment to build solidarity and power for workers. He is also probably the only other person I know who takes as much pride in our Texas labor movement as I do. I cannot think of anyone more deserving to lead our movement. Congratulations on your re-election, Rick. Let's give him a round of applause, if you would, please. Give him another round of applause. I would also like to congratulate Secretary of Treasury Leonard Aguilar, who was the first Latino to serve in this role and another one of the great leaders in our movement. By working together with Rick and with the support of all of you in this relatively short time as Secretary of Treasury, he has demonstrated exemplary leadership, helping working families across the state navigate through the pandemic and fight for better protections. We are proud to have him with us in this fight. Congratulations, Leonard. Please give him a round of applause also, if you would. You know, at CWA, we have what we call the CWA triangle. The three sides are organizing, representation, and political action. As I am sure you all can agree, we cannot have one without the other, and we need to be active on all three sides in order to get things done that benefit our members. Organizing has always been one of the core foundations of our strength and growth as a movement. In a few weeks, Dr. King's son and other civil rights leaders will return to the Lincoln Memorial to celebrate the 60th anniversary of the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom, where Dr. King delivered his iconic I Have a Dream speech to more than 200,000 people. It's often forgotten that the purpose of that march was for jobs and for freedom. Unions played a key role in contributing to the success of the March on Washington because of the shared understanding that our civil rights are deeply interconnected to our economic rights as workers. A. Philip Randolph, founder of the Brotherhood of Sleeping Car Porters, and his assistant, Bayard Rustin, provided the organizing muscle for the event. The United Auto Workers contributed much of the funding, and Randolph, through the Brotherhood, ensured transportation for many of the thousands who attended that march. The 1963 march was successful by pressuring the administration of President John F. Kennedy to initiate a strong federal civil rights bill in Congress. And the following year, President John Lyndon Baines Johnson followed through with the Civil Rights Act of 1964. 2 decades earlier, though, in the summer of 1941, A. Philip Randolph had organized another march on Washington to draw attention to the exclusion of African Americans in the defense industry. Randolph's threat of 100,000 marches on the nation's capital pushed President Franklin D. Roosevelt to issue an executive order that mandated the formation of the Fair Employment Practices Commission. Today, brothers and sisters, we must all be guided by the examples of legendary labor and civil rights leaders like A. Philip Randolph. His effectiveness proves that when labor leads and organizes, the whole nation rises. He was a leader and a change agent who knew how to motivate his members to pursue their own interests. He also knew how to masterfully pull political levers and leverage union power to achieve positive response to the issues at hand. Civil rights are human rights, and they affect us all, not just the marginalized. Throughout my career, I have fought to promote the intersection of labor and civil rights. In my new role as president of CWA, I am also committed to strengthening our union's relationships with civil rights organizations in order to move our collective agenda forward. As I said earlier, my journey is a prime example of how union membership can transform the lives of working people. When I began my career, workers took pride in their union card because they understood the difference it made in their ability to provide for their families and have a voice on the job and fight for what they deserve. You and I know, as a matter of fact, all of us know in the labor movement, that being a union member also means that you have a whole platoon of workers who will stand by you and fight for your right just as you would for theirs. We show up for each other, we just do that. For a while, it seemed like a lot of people had forgotten that. When jobs started disappearing from our communities, the corporations put the blame on unions. They put it on us. And people believed them, even though the truth was the jobs were actually going overseas because of bad trade deals that the corporations pushed through. The jobs were going to contractors because corporations spent millions of dollars to make our labor laws weaker. That's what happened. The bosses know that our strength is in our unity, so they turn us against each other in an attempt to make us weaker. But we never gave up. We never gave up. We never gave up. And now, there is a new generation rising up to join us. They are fed up with the continued economic instability. They are fed up with the extreme wealth and income gap. They saw what happened when the economy collapsed in 2007. They saw their parents and their grandparents lose their jobs and their homes, while people responsible for what happened not only faced no consequences, they actually got richer. They heard CEOs say how important it was for them to show up every day to do essential at work during the pandemic, then refuse to pay them a living wage. They are fed up with the corporate greed and the lack of respect. I'm fed up too. Aren't you fed up? I'm fed up. You should be fed up. Their frustration and anger has revitalized our movement. This convention is appropriately themed Labor Leads, Organize and Rise. It is our responsibility as leaders and activists to build on this incredible momentum and secure a better future for workers and the labor movement. We cannot and should not allow this moment to pass. At CWA, we have made organizing a top priority by investing resources in our internal organizing programs to increase our membership in existing industries and expand to new sectors such as the tech and video game industries. We have welcomed thousands of new members into our union family. In my previous role as Vice President of District 6, which includes Texas, of course, I made sure that our union was doing everything possible to support workers who wanted to join our union. And listen, brothers and sisters, it paid off. We have helped nearly 1,000 healthcare workers at Integral Care in Austin join CWA and win pay raises and improvements in safety for staff and clients. We set an important new precedent in Hays County by helping emergency medical technicians and paramedics join CWA. The county filed a petition with the NLRB saying that they couldn't form a union because they were public employees working for a government entity. We fought that, and the NLRB agreed with us, so now EMS workers across Texas know that they can organize. That is a big deal. It's a big deal. It's a really big deal. We have helped Apple Store workers in Oklahoma City take on one of the world's biggest corporations and make history by becoming the second group of Apple retail workers to win union representation in the United States. I want y'all to hear what we're organizing because none of it is telephone stuff. Are you hearing me? And so my message is we may have to go outside your base to start organizing because this is what these young people want in these different groups. They want to organize. We have advanced our fight to protect the rights of immigrant workers by working tirelessly to support workers at nonprofit organizations like Los Americas Immigrant Advocacy Center and United We Dream in their efforts to join CWA. We have supported workers of the Texas Campaign for the Environment as they won voluntary recognition to join CWA last year so they could continue to do the essential work of protecting our environment while having a voice on the job. We know, especially in a right-to-work state like Texas, the internal organizing is also important as organizing in new workplaces. Since 2022, CWA activists at AT&T Mobility have signed up over 2,000 new members, including workers with work-from-home titles. Give yourselves a round of applause, District 6 delegates. At Microsoft, another one of the world's largest corporations, over 300 workers at ZeniMax video game studios in Texas and Maryland won a landslide victory in their historic vote for union recognition. And let me say this about Microsoft. That's right, give them a round of applause. I had an opportunity to meet with Brad Smith, the CEO of Microsoft, in my office. And what he said to me, Claude, is, you guys are doing so great with the organizing work with Activision. We are interested in you organizing even larger groups in Microsoft. That was amazing to me. He wants that. Man, sit right across from me and said that. Now think about what that will do for CWA to organize that many workers. But not only did he say that, Rick, he said, I would like for you, Claude, to partnership with me in making sure every community in this country has access to the latest technology. It's a shame that we have communities in this country that still don't have access to technology. And I thought to myself, whoever thought a kid from Cashmere Garden would have an opportunity to sit across the table with an individual who leads a company, the second largest company in this country, and he wants me to partnership with him to make sure communities of colors, rural communities, have access to the latest technology, and want me to help be the face of that. That's nothing but, I give God the glory, and along with CWA. Organizing is essential to our survival. So is politics. We have a critical election year coming up, and I know all of you are gearing up for that. I was so proud of the way we mobilized in the 2022 election. Your GOTV and mobilizing efforts also led to the victories of some of our most prominent labor champions, like Congressman Greg Casar, and also Vicente Gonzalez. Let's give a round of applause for the work we did electing them. I clearly understand that union members do not always see eye to eye when it comes to politics. We know we have our differences sometimes. However, that does not mean that we have to avoid engaging in political action completely. In Texas, our political activism is even more critical as workers continue to face a multitude of attacks. The anti-worker leadership of the Texas legislature has launched an all-out assault on workers' rights at the city and at the county levels. They are attempting to roadblock decades of worker protections and blocking new pro-worker ordinances from being passed at the local level. We cannot let them win. We have to fight with everything we have to stop these attacks and hold our elected officials accountable for their actions during election time. We must abandon the idea that our movement should only talk to like-minded voters. We know better than that. We must commit to the task of holding political organizing conversations in every nook and cranny across Texas if we want meaningful change in the state. That means working with other organizations to combine our resources and talk to voters about our shared values and the issues that matter to us to get out the vote. Here's just one example, the internet access. The internet is an essential part of our daily lives, just like landline telephone services were years ago. Whether or not you have internet service can affect your ability to have a job or receive health care services or stay connected with your loved ones. Yet so many communities here in Texas and across the country lack access to high-speed, reliable internet services, particularly in less affluent rural and urban areas. I am sure we've all heard the story of students sitting in McDonald's parking lots using their Wi-Fi to do their homework. This is not acceptable at all in the 21st century. Through CWA's broadband Better campaign, we successfully advocated for the inclusion of over $60 billion for broadband expansion in President Biden's Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. And because of our work, states are required for the first time to prioritize funding for responsible employers with high labor standards and to consult with unions about their plans for the funding. Consulting with unions, consulting with unions, consulting with unions. Texas is going to receive over $3 billion through the program. Now, I've been around for a while. I know that there's a difference between what gets passed and what happens on the ground. That's why I made sure that our members here in Texas were ready to start talking to state and local officials and community members about why labor standards are important. And this is why they're important. I want you all to listen to this story. Just a few weeks ago, a young man was working to move internet fiber in San Antonio. He died on the job. He was digging a trench out in the open in high humidity under the hot summer sun when he became confused and dizzy. His coworkers tried to help him by cooling him down with water, but his supervisor thought he was on drugs and wanted to call the police. His name was Gabriel Infante, and he died at the hospital from a severe heat stroke. His mother told a reporter that the company never called her to tell her that her son had been taken to the hospital, or they did not even offer condolences for his death. This is what's important. Gabriel did not have a union. He was working for a contractor. When we talk about labor standards, this is what we're talking about, delegates. When we talk about the differences union membership makes, this is what we're talking about. When we're talking about electing people who care about workers, this is what we're talking about. Delegates, listen to me. What we do matters. It really matters. And I've never lost sight of that. You know, sometimes it seems like the rest of the country writes Texas off. But I believe we have one of the strongest labor movements in the United States. Adversity has made us stronger, and all of you are proof of that. Give yourselves a round of applause. Like all of you, we're going to continue to organize. We're going to continue to mobilize. We're going to do strong political work, and we're going to continue to fight for social justice. For when labor leads, the whole country rises. Say it with me. When labor leads, the whole country rises. When labor leads, the whole country rises. All of us should unite around our shared values, because that's what gives us our power. We will fight for the dignity of every worker and every person, and we will win. I know we will win, because when we fight, we win. 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 Thank all of you. Have a great conference. Thank you. Thank you.
So, Claude, first of all, thank you for those remarks, and thank you for your confidence and support in the Texas labor movement. But you've been such a big part of it on our executive board, just a trusted leader and advisor. And so we know that you have this big, fancy-ass new office in Washington, D.C. And we thought of you going up there and all the shelves would be all barren and you'd be all sad and you'd be, it'd be horrible. So as a token of our appreciation, we would like to present you with this award and thank you for all your service to the Texas AFL-CIO.
Thank you. Thank you.
Step to the left a little bit. Step to the left a little bit.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Yeah, thank you so much for this, Rick. And listen, any of you, if you come to Washington, D.C., please come to 501 3rd Street, look me up. Now, you may have to call because I'm getting speaking engagements from all around the country. I'm getting requests. But we want to make you feel at home. And I understand clearly I'm the president. I've been told I've got to carry myself in a different way. But listen, I'm so uncomfortable when people try to make me what I'm not. I'm just Claude. And I'm going to remain Claude, right? I understand I'm president of CWA, but my demeanor is not going to change because of that. It's not. Yeah, I believe that because I've always considered myself one who works for the people. The members don't work for me. I work for the members. And I'm going to continue to have that type of demeanor and that kind of thought moving forward. So I love all of you all. And if you come to Washington, D.C., please do not leave without coming by the 501 3rd Street Northwest in Washington, D.C. God bless all of you. Thank you again. Have a safe trip home.